The long run. Sam Parker wasn't an athlete. He wasn't even close. At 38, he was a desk-bound accountant whose idea of exercise was walking from his car to his office. His diet, takeout and vending machine snacks. His life, a monotonous loop of spreadsheets and Netflix binges. Then came the doctor's visit. "You're pre-diabetic, Sam, drive," Lawrence said, his voice calm but firm. "If you don't make changes, it's only a matter of time before this becomes your reality. And trust me, you don't want to go down that road." The words hit harder than Sam expected. He went home that night and stared at himself in the mirror. Pale skin, slumped shoulders, a belly that hung over his belt. He looked tired, more than that, he looked defeated. Something had to change. The next morning, he laced up an old pair of sneakers, threw on a hoodie, and decided to run. The plan was simple, just get to the end of the block. He didn't make it. By the time he reached the halfway point, his lungs were on fire, and his legs felt like lead. He leaned against a lamppost, gasping for air, humiliation washing over him. "This is hopeless," he muttered. But something inside him, something stubborn, something angry, whispered back, "Not yet." The next day, he tried again. And the day after that. At first, it was a struggle to jog even 100 meters without stopping. But slowly, painstakingly, his body began to adapt. The end of the block turned into 2 blocks. 2 blocks became a mile. Weeks turned into months, and Sam's runs became a ritual. Rain, heat, even snow, nothing stopped him. He ran in the mornings before work, his breath puffing out invisible clouds. He ran in the evenings, his sneakers pounding the pavement under the streetlights. The changes were subtle at first. His clothes fit looser. He had more energy at work. The vending machine no longer called his name. And then came the moment he'd never forget. The day he ran 5 miles without stopping. It wasn't fast. It wasn't pretty. But he did it. That night, lying in bed, Sam made a decision. He signed up for a marathon. A full 26.2 miles. It sounded impossible, absurd even. But that whisper inside him had grown louder. Why not? Training was brutal. His legs ached constantly, and there were days he wanted to quit. But every time doubt crept in, he reminded himself of the man who couldn't make it to the end of the block. That man was gone. Race day came faster than he expected. Standing at the starting line with thousands of other runners, Sam felt a wave of nerves. The gun went off, and the crowd surged forward. The first miles were easy, almost fun. But by mile 16, the pain set in. By mile 20, he hit the infamous wall. His body screamed at him to stop. His mind begged for relief. But Sam kept moving, one step at a time. And then, there it was, the finish line. Tears blurred his vision as he crossed it, arms raised in triumph. He'd done it. Sam wasn't the fastest runner that day. He didn't win a medal or break a record. But as he stood there, medal around his neck, he realized he'd won something far greater, the knowledge that with enough grit, enough persistence, he could overcome anything. Months later, when a coworker asked him how he managed to turn his life around, Sam just smiled. "One step at a time," he said.